County Coaching Show. Sorry about that. I'm Perry Williams. Along with me today is Brian McCauley, the Noblesville basketball coach. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you, Perry. Appreciate it a lot.
I want to talk a little bit about the last couple of weekends. You've had back-to-backs 2 weeks ago and then this past weekend. And the one thing about it, Carmel, we struggled against Carmel, and they played quite well. Like you said, like we talked about a little bit off the air, Barnes got in foul trouble, and so did Johnson. So when you take that caliber basketball player out of your game, but I'm amazed by how you bounce back the next night against a good Anderson team. So let's talk about first the Carmel game and then talk about the Anderson game.
Sure. We talked about it, you and I, off air, that Carmel played well and we did not play well at all. And that was a combination of a couple things. I thought they did a good job of attacking our zone well, putting Malloy in the high post, and then putting a guy in the corner, in the short corner, and they really put us in a predicament, and they executed well. Then we got in foul trouble. We should have had the lead, I felt, going into the second quarter. We had the 8-6 lead. We had the ball, and we didn't execute well. We turned it over, and they came and hit a shot at the buzzer. Luke Petty hit the three. So now we're down 9-8. We lose a little bit of momentum, and then it was kind of after the foul trouble, it was an avalanche there in the second. We didn't have much answer in the second half, so it was a disappointing game. Credit Carmel, they played well, and we learned from that. The thing that we learned the most from that was the character of our guys. They showed great resiliency. I thought really solid character, how they came back on Saturday morning and how we prepared for Anderson. We challenged our guys to come with the right attitude. Let's learn from the Carmel game, then let's flush it, and then let's get prepared for a solid Anderson team who had beaten Lapel at Lapel, and they had already beaten Pendleton Heights at Anderson. The night before, they hung tough with Indianapolis Tech. So they were a very dangerous team. Our guys came out and played, I think, a really solid game, one that we grew from.
Yeah, and those are one things that I think is important, and it's the important things in life too, Coach, because you're going to hit adversity in life where things are not going well every day of your life. So you have to face that. And let's talk this past weekend, because I guess we broadcast both games. And the one thing about Westfield, and in the Westfield game, and Craig and I talked about it a little bit, you kind of fed the beast in Ryan Barnes, and it carried over again to his play at Hamilton Heights. And like you said, against Carmel, John Michael Malloy is a tough matchup, but he's a tough matchup for any team, okay? And when you got two of your better players in foul trouble, and one of them has to guard Malloy, you're in trouble, okay? But the next night, when you matched up both with Westfield and Hamilton Heights, of course, Xavier Hines played great both games, and you hit some shots from the outside, like we talked earlier. 44% against Westfield and 63% against Heights, but definitely down low, Ryan Barnes was the beast.
He was. I thought, going back to that Anderson game, he got off to a solid start. I think the very first possession of the Anderson game, Ryan, we executed well, and Ryan had a post touch and some post play, and he actually missed that shot. But it kind of set the tone early that we were going to go inside out, and I thought that got us off to a good start. Even though we missed the layup, I thought our execution was really good, and that got us going. Xavier Hines played really well in that Anderson game. I wanted to highlight that before we move on to the Westfield and Heights game. But Xavier had a career-high 29 points. He was 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists. So he played a really solid game. Zach Johnson played well. But Xavier, I remember they tied it up at 42-42, and Xavier hit a big three to take us up 45-42. And then we really played well from there on. So the response from the Carmel game at Anderson was outstanding, and then we carried that over, I thought, into our practices. And then getting into the Westfield game, Ryan had a tremendous game. He had his career game, I think, best game of his career, I think. Ryan ended up shooting 70% from the field and just did a really solid job, I think, of attacking them inside. We went inside early and got 42 in foul trouble, and that kind of threw off their rotation a little bit. And then I thought that Xavier Hines in the second half did a great job, hit back-to-back threes and kind of opened up our lead. And I thought defensively we were sound. We held them to 31% from the field overall, and they made 10 threes against Zionsville, and we held them to 4 made threes. So they're a good shooting team. They're capable of making threes, and I thought we did a good job of finding their shooters and playing solid defense.
You know, the one thing, Coach, is this is a young team, okay? And you don't have a lot of experienced seniors and a lot of experienced players. So every game's a learning situation for them. And you know, as well as the fans do, Xavier Hines and Zach Johnson and Brian Barnes have to play well, and then the rest of them will, take their leadership, follow the leaders on this basketball team. And I think that's what's happened. That's put together three wins in a row for you, and it's important in those games that you've lost, you haven't shot well. But now, the one thing about it is you have to talk about, and Noblesville's always been known for this, and certainly it is no different since you've come here, is we play good defense. I mean, our defense against Westfield and their inability to go inside and not be able to get a shot to fall outside was a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, I agree. I was really proud of our defensive improvement against Anderson, and then how it carried over to the Westfield and then Heights. We're getting better. Our guys are starting to understand how to work together defensively, the rotations, our blocking out, our communication, our sliding, and our moving. And that's going to be tested big time tonight against Pike, but we'll get to that. But I was really proud of our coverage of the three-point line. And then Banks he's very good at driving. Number 10 Banks, Banks from Westfield, and he won a game against Greenfield Central, where he went from coast to coast, baseline to baseline basically, and won the game at the buzzer. And then he had already hurt Franklin Central on the Tuesday before we played them, a week ago tonight actually. He really hurt Franklin Central. They scored 75 points in overtime in that game. So we knew Westfield could score, but we really defended well. And the other part of how we defended well was we out-rebounded Westfield by 11 boards. We had 27, they had 16. So I thought we rebounded extremely well against Westfield. And that was a big key to limit them to one shot and done, because they do a great job of getting some offensive rebounds and kicking it out for some threes. And the leader for us in the rebounding category was actually, as I look here, was Egan Peter-Hill. He had less than 6, but it was by committee, which is what we're going to have to do tonight. But fitted well, and then that carried over into Heights. Ryan, again, had a career game against Westfield, and Xavier chipped in 11. I thought Egan played the best game of his career.
Absolutely.
He had 8 points and 6 rebounds in that game. He was very active, so that was great to see. And then Zach Johnson chipped in 7. So if you think about it, we had 15 by Barnes, 11 by Hines. We had 8 by Egan and 7 by Zach Johnson. That's decent offensive balance. In addition to some solid defense, that's how you win by the margin of 1 by.
Absolutely, and the one thing about it is a person we haven't mentioned, but Smith plays a great defense for you and leads that team. And people don't realize how important that point guard is, a controller of what's going on out there playing.
No doubt about it. And he's a guy that a lot of times he may not be scoring as much as you might think he needs to, but I will say this, we keep some hustle points, like deflections, steals, dives, assists, charges taken, and he led us against Westfield with 24 hustle points. And anytime you get in the 20 range and those on the hustle board, you're doing really well and you're playing an active game. So he had 6 steals against Westfield, believe it or not, and he led us with 5 assists. So 6 steals, 5 assists, 2 points, really active game for us. And I thought that all that carried over into the Heights game. Ryan should continue his solid play in the post. He was 7 for 11 from the field, and Xavier Hines was 3 of 4 from the 3-point line, and that was a big boost for us again in the second half. And then I thought we once again had really good balance. Zach Johnson had 9, and Jordan Schmidt had 9. So we were 2 points away from having 4 players in double figures. And then defensively, once again, I thought we defended Heights well. We were concerned about their dribble penetration and Kirk Western the night before, and we limited their drive. They were 5 of 19 from 3, and so they shot a fairly low percentage there, and we rebounded well. So just multiple guys contributing, and it's something we're going to have to continue to improve and see if we can put those things together again tonight.
You know, that's the one thing about, we talk about you know, our scoring, but that, like you said, that defense and in that zone we're playing. I mean, Smith made Banks pretty visible in the Westfield game, and he really challenged, along with the rest of the team, really challenged a couple of good guards in Hostetler and Etchison with Hamilton Heights. Both of them are very, very young, but their game is to penetrate, either put that ball up on the backboard or kick it out, and we didn't allow them to do that.
We did a really good job of keeping them in front of us. I felt, you know, I was impressed by Etchison and Hostetler and their quickness. We did a solid job of getting through their ball screens and having good coverage. And a lot of times when our guards weren't able to cover, our forwards were, and just limited their opportunities, and they didn't really get many second chance opportunities against Hamilton Heights. We had them for second chance points. We had them for 4 for the game, which is really good.
Yes, it is.
And they only had 2 transition baskets. So when you can limit a team to 6 points total with second chance and fast break, you're doing well defensively. And those are things they're going to be big tonight against Poly.
Yeah. And the one thing in that Heights game, I thought that Wildermuth for Hamilton Heights would be a good match for Ryan Barnes, but as you know, as he's had to, you know, Wildermuth this season has had trouble getting in foul trouble, and when he does, he has to back off, or coach has to take him out, and you know, that's when Ryan really went to work with his beast inside, playing getting rebounds and scoring inside there. Well, Coach, let's talk a little bit, because we got some interesting games coming up. We got Pike coming up tonight, and then next week, right after the holidays, we have the Noblesville Holiday Tournament. And the one great thing, if you're a basketball fan and you love to watch basketball, the Noblesville Holiday Tournament brings in a lot of good teams that we normally don't get to see from up north and things like that. And Pike will be back here, so we may see Pike again. So let's talk a little bit about the Pike game, and then, you know, sort of put a plug in for this Noblesville Holiday Tournament, because it's one of my favorites.
I agree. It's a great time of year. Indiana high school basketball is a lot of fun. And I think we host, if not the best, one of the best holiday tournaments in Indiana. There's a lot of good ones. Obviously, you've got the Hall of Fame at Newcastle, and you've got some others, but I can tell you, you want to see some really good high school basketball at a great venue. Noblesville High School is a place to be, and we're really fortunate. Our athletic department, Coach Tony Oler, Coach Neil Wooders, they do a great job of hosting it and setting it all up and doing a lot of administrative work. But we open up with Indianapolis Lighthouse East, and then on the other side of in our bracket is Broad Ripple, and Broad Ripple's a tough team versus Crown Point. So we get to see Crown Point from the north, Broad Ripple from central Indiana, Indianapolis Lighthouse from central Indiana, and then us. And then on the other bracket, you've got 4 really good teams. You've got Pike from the MIC, you've got Lawrence Central from the MIC, you've got Columbus North from down south, and then you have, help me out, who's the 8th team? Think of that. putting you on the spot.
Yeah, you really are, because I was gonna run that off today, because I wanted to run through it, and I couldn't, I didn't do that, so I apologize.
So I mentioned Pike and Lawrence Central, right?
Yeah, those are.
Then you've got Columbus North and Chesterton.
That's
from
right,
the north.
yeah.
So
And they're always a good team coming in here.
They've been playing very well. Obviously, let's see, 3 years ago we battled them, and then we beat them. Year 2 we did not play them. Last year we played them and had a wild game. It was fun game. Out. And then this year they're on the opposite side of the bracket. So it's going to be interesting. Pike and Lawrence Central both being from the same conference, they're going to match up with Chesterton and Columbus North. So we got teams from the region, we have teams from as far south as Columbus, and we got some Central Indiana teams. It's a really good field, so we'll look forward to playing in that tournament. But before we get to that, we have Pike tonight, and Pike's a very athletic team. Typical Pike team in the sense that they've got 6'5", 6'6" athletes. Number 22 Miller, 6'6". Number 23 Porch. You may remember the last name Porch. He started for them last year and played as a sophomore. He's now a senior. And then they've got a move-in guard from Tenley, Hunter White. You'll see him tonight, number 3. Very good slasher, averages 12 for them. Gary is their point guard. He played last year. And then their best shooter that starts is 24 Redmond. So they're athletic. They're going to apply a lot of pressure. They've already played a very demanding schedule. They played Brownsburg first, and then they beat Crown Point 65-60 at Pike, and they've come back and played an LC Lawrence Central, a conference game, and then Center Grove. So they played, like I said, played a very good schedule, and they're going to be battle tested tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, and one of the things in coming up here and everything and talking about, you know, Pike tonight, then we got to have the Lighthouse, and then we'll have another 1 or 2 games in our Noblesville tournament, and then right after the first of the year, we'll have Muncie Central. But you know, the one thing we need to keep an eye on, because I know it's a goal of yours, is one thing we want to have a very good season, but the Hoosier Crossroad Conference is very, very important. And you know, with some time, and it's not all the pressure packed that you go through week after week in this Hoosier Crossroad Conference, but you got some good opponents to come up and prepare yourself to go to Zionsville, with Zionsville's an undefeated team.
They are. Zionsville is having an outstanding year. They've been building for this year for quite some time. Riley Bertram is as good as a guard as you'll find in high school basketball, and he's tough as nails. He's a very good leader. And then the other guy, his backcourt mate is Thompson, and he's as good as you'll find skill-wise and so forth. He's just a junior, so I think he's got several options at the next level, but he's very quick. He's great at drawing fouls. They've already beaten Carmel. They're undefeated, as you mentioned. So we'll be going to their place this year, and that's always a tough place to play, you know. And so Zionsville will be our next conference opponent, and then that'll be a very tough game. But we've got some games to keep improving and use that to build. And then after Zionsville, we'll take a little break. You know, that you have the schedule there. We'll have Northrop, Frankfurt, and Logansport. And then we go into another tough venue at HSE. They're undefeated. Probably Zionsville and HSE, if they're not in the top 5, they're both in the top 10, in my opinion, as far as caliber of teams. So, and then, you know, of course, you've got, besides that, then I believe you have our final 2 teams would be Brownsburg. Brownsburg probably in the top 10, if not higher, and then Avon. So the HCC is as good, probably from top to bottom, as it's been for a while, and it's always challenging, but it prepares you for the postseason play, and that's something we look forward to.
That's what it's all about. Yeah. You know, the one thing about it is you have to realize, you know, we're 2-0 in the conference right now, and we got that victory against Fishers, which is now really big because the next night Fishers goes to plays Carmel and beats them, okay? So that's become a huge win for us, and so we'll just see what happens here. Coach, I appreciate you taking time out today, game day, to do this show with us, and probably after the first of the year we get through, probably right around the Muncie Central game, we'll have another show. We'll talk more about what's coming up and how we fared over the holidays. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thank you very much, Perry. Merry Christmas to you guys.
Thank you.